Shalom Aleichem, everybody. Today I want to talk to you all about the pleasure that's within the Torah. What does this mean? There's two sides to this. The main side is the pleasure Hashem gets from us learning Torah, and the second thing is the pleasure we can tap into, we can experience by learning Hashem's Torah. So the first thing to note is that, as I've said in previous videos, there's a whole seder, this whole level of different worlds that Hashem created, that He revealed through that are in between the infinite godly light and this physical world. There's many different levels, but the Torah is sourced from Hashem Himself. And so even when we're in this physical, limited, so to speak, world, when we're learning Torah and doing mitzvahs, we're connecting to Hashem as He is completely above the worlds, and we're drawing down a light completely above the worlds into the world. So the Torah comes from Hashem's innermost will. The Torah and Mitzvahs and our neshama, it comes from Hashem's innermost will, which is called ta'anug. It's called ta'anug, the innermost will. Because why? Because what's a person's will? Why does a person desire something? Why does he have the ratzon, the will to do something? Because there's a pleasure within that thing. There's a pleasure he has towards a certain thing that frames his will. That his will is an extension of that pleasure. It is guided by that pleasure he has in a certain thing. So too with Hashem, the Torah and the mitzvahs, and us fulfilling the Torah and mitzvahs is Hashem's innermost pleasure. Therefore, that's His will. He desires that. That's His ratzon. So a person could connect to Torah in a high way, but not in the highest way. Say, this is Hashem's will. It's completely above the worlds. It's completely above the worlds. It's greater than all the worlds. That's a great thing. That's a great reality to be aware of. But an even deeper reality is realizing that not just is it completely above the worlds, but when we learn Torah and do mitzvahs, it's Hashem's greatest pleasure. It's His innermost pleasure. So and so of course, since we're made in the image of God, we also can derive a tremendous pleasure by serving Him for His sake. When we do it with humility, we realize we derive a lot of pleasure knowing that we get to give back to the Creator, to give pleasure to the Creator. It causes us a lot of pleasure. We realize the magnitude of what's going on here. So and then there's Torah and Mitzvahs. So Torah and Mitzvahs are both sourced from this level, and it's important to note that Torah itself is a mitzvah. We have the mitzvah to learn Torah. So why is Torah connected to all the mitzvahs, is related to all the other mitzvahs combined? Because not only is Torah just a mitzvah, but it also teaches you about mitzvahs and the secrets and the reasoning and the laws about other mitzvahs. So Torah, above any other mitzvah, pushes us to do more mitzvahs, because within the Torah itself, while learning Torah, we're learning about other mitzvahs. Contained within the Torah is the mitzvahs, and within the mitzvahs is learning Torah. So more than any other mitzvah, while learning Torah, you become much more aware of other mitzvahs. And the exponential growth from learning Torah is much more apparent. It's much more revealed. So in Kuntres Mayan and the Rebbe Rashab's teachings, he speaks about how people can derive different pleasures in life, and he talks first about the pleasures. A person can get a lot of physical pleasures that are just coming from the Yetzer Hara. A person can get pleasure in eating. A person can get chas v'shalom pleasure in speaking lashon hara, or get very pleasure from making a lot of money or driving a nice car. That's low level pleasure, very animalistic pleasure that's coming from the Yetzer Hara. But the highest level of pleasure, that's a holy pleasure, is deriving pleasure from learning Hashem's Torah for His sake, becoming excited to get to know Hashem. And that's the beautiful thing. When we reflect upon this, when we become aware of this, that wait, Hashem is sharing Himself with us through the Torah. He's revealing Himself to us. He's revealing Himself to us through the Torah, and we're not getting completely blown away by it. Meaning, He's allowing us to live as our own seemingly separate beings, but yet tap into His oneness, become one with Him through Torah and Mitzvahs, and learn about Him and understand and tap into and feel for Him. And have the will to connect Him, the pleasure in connecting to Him. That's a beautiful thing. When we really think about this, and when we learn more Torah, we become familiar, because we have moments where it's more revealed how that we feel Hashem in what we're learning. So in order to really maximize this, we have to continue to learn more and more and more and grow in our learning, because it's all uphill. The more we tap into it, the more we can channel it towards doing more mitzvahs, and it's an exponential growth and sharing with others. And Torah spreads like fire, and you do one more mitzvah, Hashem rewards you, you're going to do more and more and more. It's exponential growth, especially when you share with others and you inspire others. Then it's like it's just like a fire. It spreads. So thank you for watching this video. Just the main message is that we have to tap into the pleasure of learning Torah and serving Hashem, and not to be in a state where we feel like we're just doing it. That's at one level, that's the lower level. But then to tap into, wait, this is truly the greatest pleasure. This is the purpose of creation, is for us to give back to Hashem, and we can really tap into this pleasure. Of course, Hashem is already involved in this pleasure. Hashem senses this, causes Hashem the pleasure when we serve Him. So when we reflect that we're able to tap into this pleasure, it's a tremendous thing, and it will give us the strength to do even more mitzvahs and inspire others, and get others to inspire others as well. It's exponential growth. Thank you, and may Hashem bless you.